I'm currently enrolled in a graduate psychology program at Boise State University. I moved to Idaho about 6 months ago for school. Everything was going surprisingly well. Classes were intense, but manageable. I was getting along with most of my cohort, and I'd even joined a small study group that met weekly. My apartment wasn't anything fancy, a one-bedroom unit in a quiet part of town. Rent was affordable, utilities were included, and the building had a mostly older tenant population, so it was peaceful. That's all I really needed. I didn't have a car, but I biked everywhere, even in the cold. It was fine. Good exercise, and the campus was less than 15 minutes away. I'm a cautious person. I don't drink, I don't go to parties. I walk with pepper spray and double lock my door every night. I was confident in my routines. Until one day, everything started to fall apart. It began when my backpack was stolen from the campus library. I had just stepped away to use the restroom. 5 minutes max. When I came back, it was gone. The staff tried to help, but the cameras near the back section where I had been weren't working that day. Typical. Inside my backpack was everything important: laptop, keys, student ID, and a small notebook where I kept reminders and class schedules. My wallet wasn't in there. I always kept that on me. But losing the rest was bad enough. I filed a campus security report and a police report. Not much came of it. Annoyed and a little shaken, I changed the password to my email and university accounts using a friend's computer. I canceled my student ID and requested a new one. The building manager for my apartment complex said they could change my lock for a $75 fee, but it might take a few days. That felt excessive, but I agreed. What else could I do? 3 days later, I found a note taped to my apartment door. It wasn't from the landlord. It was a torn piece of notebook paper that simply read, "Hope you slept well." There was no name, no explanation. A knot formed in my stomach. I tried convincing myself it was a prank from one of my classmates, but no one in my cohort knew where I lived. The next night, another note appeared. This one was slid under my door. It read, "Nice taste in tea." That's when I lost it. The only way someone could have known that was by being inside my apartment. My kitchen cabinet was above the sink, totally out of view from the window. I kept my tea tins stacked by color. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in bed with the lights on and a pocket knife under my pillow. The next morning, I asked the manager again about the lock replacement. They said the contractor had been delayed but should come by that afternoon. When I came home that evening, the lock had not been changed. I was furious. That night, I wedged a chair under the doorknob and placed a couple of mugs on top, so if anyone tried to enter, the noise would wake me. It was all I could do. The following day, I received an email from an anonymous address. The subject line said, "Wednesday, 3:15. You're always late." My Wednesday class started at 3:15. I had been late that day. Not by much, just a few minutes. But someone had noticed. That email made it clear they were watching me. They had access to my schedule, probably that stolen notebook. I forwarded the email to the university's IT department and the police, but nothing happened. The IP was masked. There was no traceable information. All I got was a generic reply saying they'd investigate. Every day for the next week, I got either a note, an email, or something moved in my apartment. My shoes would be out of place. My shampoo bottles turned the wrong way. My fridge magnets rearranged. Nothing major. Just small, obvious things that let me know someone had been there. I bought a cheap indoor camera online, one that linked to my phone. I hid it in a plant on my bookshelf, aimed at the door and kitchen. I wanted proof. If nothing else, I wanted to know I wasn't losing my mind. The camera arrived 2 days later. I set it up immediately. That night, nothing happened. The next night, I came home from class and checked the footage. At 2:17 a.m., the door opened. A tall figure entered, wearing a hoodie and gloves. They moved with eerie familiarity. Straight to the kitchen, straight to the tea cabinet. They didn't steal anything. They just looked around. Then, at one point, the figure turned toward the camera. They paused. Then they walked over and unplugged it. I stared at the screen, frozen. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. That night, I stayed in a motel. I didn't even pack. I just grabbed my phone, my ID, and left. From the parking lot, I called the police and told them everything. This time, I had the footage. They came to the apartment, took my statement, and said they'd assigned someone to monitor the complex for a few days. My landlord finally replaced the lock the next morning. I moved out the day after that. You'd think that would be the end of it. I thought it was. But 2 weeks later, I got another email. It was from a different anonymous address. No subject line, just a video attachment. It was the footage from my camera, the same footage I'd watched before, except this version was edited. It had captions. When I walked into the frame earlier that evening, it read, "She's home." When I turned off the lights. Now, we wait. At the end of the video, just before the figure unplugged the camera, the last caption appeared. "See you soon." I threw up. Literally. In the motel bathroom. I changed all my accounts again, bought new devices. I didn't care about the money, I just wanted to disappear. I moved into a new building across town. This one had a doorman and 24/7 security. My landlord knows what happened and has been cooperative. I still sleep with the lights on. I still check the closets before bed. I still wake up at 2:17 a.m. every single night. The police never found out who it was. Sometimes, I wonder if I've walked past them on campus, if they're sitting in one of my lectures, if they know that I'm writing this. But now I double-check everything. I don't leave my things unattended. And I never assume I'm alone, because somewhere out there, someone is watching. And they know exactly where to find me. Before we dive into the next story, if you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell icon so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories. Your support truly encourages us and helps this channel continue to grow. And don't forget to share these stories with your friends and family. Thank you.